we're going to talk about the IO6, the Cyprus model of social business incubation, and the social entrepreneurship framework in Cyprus. I will start with a short intro quiz. So perhaps some of you know it, perhaps some of you don't. So do you know when Cyprus passed the law on social entrepreneurship? Does anybody know?
Yes.
Yes, Paula.
This year, 2021 or 2020, I don't know.
Actually, it was 2020, it was last December.
Almost 2021.
Yes, exactly, almost 2021. But as you will see, we still haven't implemented it. So it's very new to us. So just to give it a bit interesting, at the last slide, we will have 2 or 3 questions. So if you want, you can keep some notes or just some comments on the Cyprus framework. So as I said, the social entrepreneurship and social enterprises are relatively new terms in Cyprus. At the time of writing the report, there was no legal framework, just some guidelines, and was no formal definition of the social entrepreneurship area in Cyprus. We can form social enterprises under already existing legal forms, but they're not officially recognized as social enterprises, and the forms are limited liability companies, cooperatives, and associations, that they're also covered by the EU operational definition. The bill entitled that is passed into law now, it's called Law for the Development and Maintenance of a Registry for Social Enterprises, which was developed in 2017, but it was passed last year, December 2020. And the aim is to regulate the registration of business in a social enterprise registry by specifying the criteria that the natural or legal person must meet in order to register. There are 2 classifications in the bill, in the law, enterprises of general purpose and of social mission. So some entities of a general purpose, they have the primary purpose of a social mission through the promotion of a positive social or environmental action. And the social mission, social inclusion enterprise has a primary purpose that they will employ at least 40% of its workforce are persons belonging to vulnerable groups. They have the general purpose group has some main characteristics, as for example, to promote the social mission by promoting positive social or environmental actions, to provide services or goods on the basis of a business model, to be able to register to a public system according to the law, to invest at least 70% of its profits to promote its social mission and achieve its primary purpose, and to be managed by entrepreneurial, responsible, and transparent manner. The characteristic of the social enterprises of social inclusion are the following: to be able to employ at least 40% of the workforce of persons belonging to vulnerable groups, to be able to provide services on a business model basis, and to be managed in an entrepreneurial, responsible, and transparent manner. As I already mentioned, we have some different types of companies to be able to register in the social entrepreneurship registry. LLCs, cooperatives, associations, and foundations. Clubs are not eligible to register. I'm just going through very quickly because it's a very long presentation. Sorry about that. And we have we have discussed in the report the social entrepreneurship overview in Cyprus, and there are accordingly 3 dimensions of this model: the social, the entrepreneurial, and the governance dimension. In Cyprus, we have we can't get funding specifically for social enterprises. So we can get funds from tenders and public contracts according to some laws in Cyprus. I won't get into detail in that because it's not of interest to you. Also, some measures were under consideration related to social enterprises, but are still not implemented. For example, private companies could exempt of some fees up to 350 euros, and could use the welfare law that offers direct awards of contracts, for example. In Cyprus, we have many challenges and needs in the social entrepreneurship sphere and framework. And the main one was that we didn't have the law up until now. And well, now we do, but as I said, it's not implemented yet. We don't have specific funds and support for social enterprises. So we're trying to do stuff on our own, to be honest. And some challenges in the startup phase include that we don't have specific business planning and funding opportunities for social enterprises. Also, we have a heavy bureaucracy in Cyprus that usually cripples the system. In the development phase, there is a need to develop a marketing strategy for social enterprises and businesses. And also it's difficult to maintain a self-sustainable and self-efficient social business. Networking is common. It's a common need in both phases. We need to be able to network, to make contact with people. And another need is that the business community and consumers, they're not familiar with the term social enterprise yet. I already mentioned that there are no public funds or public funded support schemes for social enterprises, unfortunately, but there are some schemes announced that we can get funds from and support social enterprises. We could also be social enterprises. For example, there is a grant to strengthen the competitiveness of small and medium and size enterprises in the manufacturing sector. And the beneficiaries are new or existing SMEs of the manufacturing sector. And the schemes provides incentives for some investments targeting the following needs. We also have the Cyprus Entrepreneurship Fund, which aims to facilitate access to finance for SMEs through the provision of financial risk-sharing products. The Ministry of Energy, Commerce, Industry and Tourism also has signed an agreement to manage the implementation of this program, Advice for Small Business Facility in Cyprus, and also targets small SMEs to improve the competitiveness and the development of the know-how of the SMEs in Cyprus, through mainly the provision of counseling and training. We also have the COSME program that aims to encourage the competitiveness of European initiatives. The Innofin SME Guarantee Facility, which offers tailored financing products and advisory services for SMEs. The European Fund for Strategic Investments. And the scheme for social economy and non-profit organizations, the Restart program, which you could also be familiar with it. Through the Restart, any social enterprise may submit proposals and support the development of innovative ideas, products, services, and technologies. There are no publicly funded support programs. This is not new, but Cyprus has developed in January 2018 the National Action Plan, which includes some measures and incentives for activating or expanding social enterprises in Cyprus. For example, a grant is provided for startups and existing social enterprises. There is some support provided to incubators for up to 3 years. And some additional measures like a label and certification system, an electronic portal, vocational and educational training for social entrepreneurs, and mentoring. And we have some social incubation methods as well that are provided to social entrepreneurs, but they're more general. They're not very specialized or tailor-made to social enterprises and social entrepreneurs. In Cyprus, we have some types of business incubated, but they're very primitive. Most of it, from the research that we have done, most of the social businesses incubated, they have been in the environmental sphere, focusing on recycling, responsible production, eco-friendly services and products, sustainable tourism, agrotourism, and digital services. There is some rise in the enterprises aiming to address social issues. But unfortunately, the government support is still very limited and does not offer a framework that can support the social enterprises framework meaningfully. We here host Hub Nicosia in our premises, which is hosting 3 organizations that are in the process of incubating. One in the field of sustainable tourism, a youth organization, and one in activist journalism. The geographical coverage, we cover basically the whole area of Cyprus. As you know, Cyprus is a divided island, it's not a very large country. So
we lost Ioana.
Yes, I think we lost Ioana.
Yep. Most probably.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some of her colleagues can maybe take over or see if she can reconnect.
She's coming up.
Okay. Let's see.
We don't have access to Ioana's presentation, so that would be difficult to see what's next. But just to say, it's quite interesting because we are working on other projects of similar interest, and for us to see what's going on and how each country is represented in the field is very interesting. We're actually now Synthesis is the National Center for Social Innovation, and has been awarded this title in 2021. So there are a number of countries at the moment who are working on reports country-wise across Europe in order to showcase the current status in regards to social innovation. And this, of course, is quite close and related to the field of social entrepreneurship. Therefore, it makes sense for us to see how we can merge the two worlds or see the overlaps in order to proceed, because we are due to have the report ready by the end of this year. It's very interesting, and this is partly why we are present today. I think Joanna may have connection issues at the moment, so
Yes,
I'm not
sorry.
sure.
I'm back.
Yeah. Okay.
My internet is not stable. I don't know why, because we're in the same office. So sorry about that. Can I continue, or am I out of time?
You are now at 15 minutes. If you want to conclude briefly, it's okay. And then we
so
move on.
Very briefly, I will talk about the lessons learned. I already mentioned we have the lack of support of the government, which is a discouraging factor for social businesses. And some of the challenges are the lack of familiarity with the concept, and the lack of support of the government. As I already mentioned, sorry, I lost my track now. Okay, yeah.